Good morning, grade 10. So, before we begin our discussion, let us take a look at one of the greatest stories ever told, the Odyssey by Homer. So, this ancient Greek epic poem tells the thrilling adventures of Odysseus, a brave and intelligent hero who faces countless trials on his long journey home after the Trojan War. So, for 10 years, Odysseus battles storms, monsters, and the anger of the gods, all while longing to return to his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus in Ithaca. But the Odyssey is more than just a story of adventure. It is a journey of the human spirit. It explores themes of loyalty, perseverance, courage, and the power of the mind over brute strength. The poem also reflects the values of ancient Greek society, such as respect for the gods, the importance of home and family, and the belief that wisdom and cleverness are marks of true heroism. So, as we study the Odyssey, we will discover why this epic continues to influence literature and art thousands of years later, and how its lessons about life, struggle, and hope still speak to readers today. So for the lesson target, the lesson targets, it aims to help you gain a deeper understanding of the Odyssey as a timeless piece of literature. So first, you are expected to analyze the major themes such as loyalty, cleverness, and the role of central characters. So these themes are reflected in the actions and decisions of key figures like Odysseus, whose intelligence helps him overcome trials, and Penelope, whose unwavering loyalty symbolizes faithfulness and love. Next, you will examine how the Odyssey mirrors important Greek cultural values, particularly hospitality and loyalty, which were seen as moral duties in ancient Greece. Acts of welcoming strangers and staying faithful to one's family and commitments reveal what the Greeks valued most in human behavior. And then lastly, you will identify the structure of the Odyssey, notably its epic form and use of in medias res, and recognize its lasting influence in Western literature. So, through its themes, structure, and portrayal of human experience, the Odyssey continues to inspire countless works and remains a foundation of literary tradition. So before anything else, let us talk about first about the author of the poem, which is Homer. So Homer is known as the ancient Greek poet who is traditionally credited with composing two of the most important works in Western literature, which is the Iliad and the Odyssey. So these epic poems tell powerful stories about heroism, honor, and the human struggle, forming the foundation of Greek culture and storytelling. Believed to have lived around the 8th century BCE, Homer's life remains surrounded by mystery, as there are no concrete records about who he was or where he came from. Some ancient sources describe him as a blind poet who traveled from place to place reciting his verses. However, because of the lack of historical evidence, many scholars debate whether Homer was a real person or if the name Homer only represents a group of poets who passed down these stories through oral tradition. So, regardless of his true identity, Homer's influence is actually undeniable. His works continue to shape literature, art, and ideas about heroism and human nature even today. So, a Greek epic poem, it is a long narrative work that tells the story of heroic deeds, adventures, and challenges faced by remarkable characters. So, these poems often take place in a mythological or historical setting, blending imaginative storytelling with real aspects of ancient Greek lives, beliefs, and values. So, Greek epics were originally passed down orally by poets or bards who memorized and performed them for audiences long before they were written down. So, through these stories, the ancient Greeks expressed their ideas about bravery, about their honor, faith, and the relationship between humans and the gods. So the two most famous examples are the Iliad and the Odyssey, both traditionally attributed to Homer. These epics not only shaped Greek culture but also became the foundation of Western literature, influencing storytelling for thousands of years. So let us now talk about the Iliad and the Odyssey. So the Iliad and the Odyssey are two of the most famous ancient Greek epic poems traditionally attributed to Homer. So um, the Iliad is set during the Trojan War. It is a legendary conflict between the Greeks and the Trojans. It centers on the intense dispute between Achilles and the greatest Greek warrior and Agamemnon, the Greek commander. So, through this conflict, the poem explores deep themes such as honor, pride, faith, and the devastating consequences of war. Rather than focusing only on battles, the Iliad reveals the emotions, values, and struggles of its characters, showing how personal pride and anger can shape the course of history. And then the Odyssey, on the other hand, it tells the story of Odysseus' 10-year journey home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. It highlights his courage, intelligence, and perseverance as he faces numerous obstacles such as monsters, gods, and temptations. So the poem explores themes of adventure, resilience, loyalty, and the longing for home, portraying not just physical struggles but also emotional and moral ones. So together, the Iliad and the Odyssey form the foundation of the ancient Greek literature, offering timeless lessons about heroism, human nature, and the search for meaning. So let us have a quick facts about the Odyssey. So, the Odyssey is an ancient Greek epic poem, meaning it is a long narrative poem that tells the story of a hero's adventures and struggles. So, in this case, the hero Odysseus, whose long and challenging journey home after the Trojan War, forms the heart of the story. So, as an epic, the Odyssey captures not just action and adventure, but also the emotions, values, and lessons that define human experience. Like many early works of Greek literature, the Odyssey comes from an oral tradition. So, this means it was originally passed down by bards or the poets who memorized and recited the story aloud to audiences. So, these oral performances helped preserve Greek myths, history, and cultural identity long before writing became common. So the poem also reflects important Greek cultural values, such as loyalty, cleverness, and the importance of home. So Odysseus' determination to return to Ithaca and his resourcefulness in facing dangers showed Greek admiration for intelligence and perseverance. Meanwhile, his wife Penelope's faithfulness and his son Telemachus' growth highlight the value Greeks placed on family, honor, and moral strength. So, through its characters and events, the Odyssey continues to teach timeless lessons about courage, wisdom, and, of course, the human spirit. Okay, so talking about the setting, okay, so the Odyssey is set in the period following the Trojan War, focusing on what happens after the fighting ends. So this setting shifts the attention from the glory of the battlefield to the personal and emotional challenges of returning home and rebuilding life after war. So it shows that the greatest struggle for a hero is not always in battle, but in finding peace and restoring what was left behind. So the story follows Odysseus' 10-year journey back to his homeland, which is Ithaca. Along the way, he faces countless obstacles, including terrifying mythical creatures, vengeful gods, and powerful natural forces. So these trials test not only his strength, but also his intelligence, his patience, and determination. So each adventure, whether with Cyclops, the Sirens, or the Sea Storms, reveals Odysseus' cleverness and perseverance in overcoming adversity. So, at the heart of the epic is the Greek theme of Nostos, meaning homecoming. So, Odysseus' unwavering desire to return to his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus symbolizes a deep, universal longing for home, belonging, and identity. So, this theme reminds readers that true heroism lies not only in conquest but in love, faithfulness, and the enduring hope of reuniting with one's family and homeland. So, for the plot, the Odyssey tells the story of Odysseus, a brave and intelligent Greek hero who struggles to return home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. So, his journey, which lasts 10 long years, is not just about traveling across the seas, but also about proving his strength, wisdom, and, of course, his loyalty. The epic centers on his determination to reunite with his wife, Penelope, and his son, Telemachus, and to reclaim his rightful place as king. Through Odysseus' experiences, the story explores the challenges of perseverance. It also explores faithfulness and the human desire for home and belonging. So, throughout his adventures, Odysseus encounters many trials and mythical dangers that test both his courage and cleverness. He outwits the Cyclops, which is Polyphemus. He also resists the temptation of the Siren's song and endures the anger of Poseidon, or the god of the sea, who constantly tries to stop him from reaching home. With the help of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, Odysseus survives terrifying threats like uh, Scylla, a six-headed monster, and Charybdis, a deadly whirlpool. So each challenge reveals his resilience, his intelligence, and leadership, showing why he is one of the literature's most admired hero. Okay, so overall, the Odyssey's plot follows Odysseus' long and difficult journey from war to homecoming. It is a powerful story of endurance, hope, and the triumph of the human spirit over adversity. So while Odysseus faces countless dangers on his long journey home, his wife Penelope remains the symbol of loyalty, patience, and, of course, intelligence. Despite being surrounded by dozens of suitors who try to convince her to remarry and take over the throne of Ithaca, Penelope stays faithful to her husband. She cleverly delays choosing a new husband by weaving a burial shroud during the day and secretly unweaving it at night. So, promising to marry only when it is finished. Her cunning plan and unwavering devotion demonstrate the Greek ideal of faithfulness and perseverance, proving that she is just as wise and strong in her own way as Odysseus. So, in the ending of the Odyssey, Odysseus finally returns home after 20 years of war and wandering, disguised as a beggar. He observes the situation in his household and reunites with his son Telemachus. So, together with the guidance and support of the goddess Athena, they devise a plan to defeat the arrogant suitors who have overrun their palace. So, after a dramatic battle, Odysseus reclaims his throne and reveals his true identity to Penelope. So their emotional reunion restores both family and order to Ithaca, bringing the epic full circle from war and chaos to peace and homecoming. So in the Odyssey, the gods play a major role in reshaping the events of Odysseus' journey, often influencing his fate for better or worse. So their involvement reflects the ancient Greek belief that the gods were deeply connected to they are connected to human life, and that divine favor of anger could determine one's destiny. So Poseidon, the powerful god of the sea, becomes Odysseus' main enemy after the hero blinds his son. Okay, so as you can still remember, Odysseus blinded Polyphemus. So out of revenge, Poseidon sends storms, shipwrecks, and obstacles to prevent Odysseus from returning home. His relentless anger represents the dangers of pride and the belief that humans must respect the god's power. So, in contrast, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, acts as Odysseus' protector and guide. She admires his intelligence, courage, and perseverance, helping him overcome challenges and regain his home and honor. Athena's support symbolizes the idea that wisdom and self control lead to success. Together, the gods in the Odyssey serve as symbols of human traits and emotions. Athena's loyalty and wisdom reflect reason and virtue, while Poseidon's wrath represents anger and vengeance. Their actions highlight the balance between divine will and human effort, reminding readers that both gods and mortals possess strengths, weaknesses, and moral lessons to learn. Okay, so the epic poem, the Odyssey, also holds great significance as one of the most influential works in the world literature. Its stories, characters, and themes have inspired countless works in literature. Not only in literature, but also in theater and in movies or film throughout the history. Writers and artists continue to draw on Odysseus' adventures as a symbol of the human experience. So his journey reflects not just physical travel, but the emotional and spiritual challenges people face in life. As a cultural symbol, Odysseus' long journey home represents resilience, perseverance, and the universal desire for home and belonging. So his determination to overcome trials and return to his family mirrors the struggles that all humans experience when trying to find peace, purpose, and life, and a purpose and identity. So the themes of loyalty, courage, and ingenuity found in the Odyssey remain timeless. So Penelope's faithfulness, Odysseus' bravery, and his clever problem solving continue to resonate with modern audiences. So these enduring lessons connect the ancient world to the present, showing that despite the passage of time, the values celebrated in Homer's epic, which is love, endurance, and wisdom, it still define what it means to be truly human. Okay, so that's it. So in your notebook, answer the following questions in complete sentences and with clear explanations based on your understanding of the text. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so that would be all for today. Thank you so much, Grayton. And I hope you learn something about the Odyssey. Have a great day.